Hello, everyone, and welcome to the CX show with me, James Talk Sport. Busy weekend yet again. We've had the Superprestige and Merksplas on Saturday. We've had the UCI World Cup in Cox Cider, one of my favourite races, today on Sunday. We've also had racing in America, in France, and in the UK. So let's take you through the racing from this weekend. And we're going to kick things off with the Tillernet Superprestige from Saturday. It was in Merksplas in Belgium, and it's a very fast course. It's a mostly flat. You've got a few rises and a little sand section as well. So the women's race was really a exercise in winning the race, but not putting too much effort in from Lucinda Brand. She would go away early in the race and never be seen again. Anna Marie Verst finished second ahead of Denise Betzemer and Yara Castelline in fourth. The battle on between the non-Dutch riders in the women's race was won by Anna Kay ahead of Perrine Clausel, and Maria Norbert Riverola was in it. They were 9th, 10th and 11th respectively. Into the men's race we had again a very large group containing Iserybt, Herman, Swick, Arts, and Van der Haar. They were the big ones. They would be the ones that would fight out for the win, but it was also had Van Kessel, Vincent Basten, Jens Adams, Van der Putter, Toon van den Bos, and Dieter Sweek as well. So big group, but ultimately the five riders of Arts, Van der Haar, Swick, Hermans, and Iserybt were to compete. And it came down to the wire, the last lap, and Iserybt took the win from Quentin Hermans, and Lawrence Swake was in third. In terms of the leaders of the Superprestige, we have Lucinda Brand is the leader of the women's, ahead of Betzemer and Verst only by a point, and Iserybt holds a 3-point lead over Quentin Hermans. Over in America on Saturday, we had the North Carolina GP from Hendersonville. Gage Heck beat Kerry Warrener and Cody Cup in the men's race, and Anna McGale won in the women's race, beating 18-year-old Lizzie Gunsalos. So certainly one to watch there from the American. Sunday, the 21st of November, we saw the return after a few years out of the UCI World Cup in Cox Cider. It is by far my favourite track, and it's just brutal. The hills, the sand, whether you can ride it, whether you can run it. And the great thing is we had two completely different races in the between the men's and the women's race. David Hubbardings continued his fantastic run of form in the men's junior race. Jorn Verscheur took the win in the men's under 23. But obviously live coverage of the women's and the men's race. And Shirin Van Anrooy kicked things off in style in the women's race. The teenager led from the front with Puck Peterson, but quickly dropped her and looked set to certainly fight for the top five in the podium. Brand, Betzemer, Verst, Celine Del Carmen Alvarado eventually got back with her. Alvarado would ultimately drop back. She's continuing to sort of struggle to get back into the swing of things. She came in fifth, a minute 10 down. Van Anrooy faded, 49 seconds in fourth. Lucinda Brand again similarly faded to 37 seconds in third. Betzemer only finished 17 seconds behind the winner, Anna Marie Verst, who won her first race in this year and the first race in about 12 months as well. Puck Peterser continues to lead the women's under 23 category. However, she was beaten by Shirin van Anrooy today. Just had the men's race, and what a race we had. It was a big group compared to the women's race, with every pretty much first to 14th was still within the fight with 4 laps to go. But ultimately, the big guns, Iserybt, Sweek, Arts, Hermans, Van der Haar, would take control of the race. The weather changed in between the men's and the women's race, and the rain would have certainly helped a rider like Iserybt. Short, small in stature, and he knew himself that he would struggle on the sand. But obviously, the rain dampens the sand, makes it harder, and ultimately easier to ride through. Arts looked to be the strongest in the sand, but with 2 laps to go, Iserybt rode a section where nobody else did, and from then on, he never looked in any real trouble. Taking the win ahead of teammate Lauren Sweek, Toonarts in third. In terms of the women's and men's leaders of the World Cup, Lucinda Brand holds a lead over Denise Betzemer. And Iserybt has a big lead over Toonarts in the men's race. Over to Sunderland for the 4th round of the British National Trophy Series, and it was Rory Maguire who took the win in a sprint against Corin Carrick Anderson. In the men's race, Daniel Barnes rounded out the podium. In the women's race, it was Inform Amira Miller ahead, or close to a minute ahead of Abby Manley and Alderney Baker in 3rd place. The Cyclocross Stella Granville took place today, and T-Shirts, instead of going over to Cox Cider for the World Cup, went over and took the win ahead of Jan Kras and Joshua Dubois in the men's race. And in the women's race, it was Leah Kurner took the win ahead of Joyce van der Becken and Karen Verhestrayan. Oh my goodness, I can't pronounce things. So coming up next weekend, we have the X2O Trophy in Courtois, the Urban Cross on Saturday. In fact, that's the only race on Saturday, the 27th. On the Sunday, we have the UCI World Cup continuing. This time they head over to France in Besançon. And then they've also got a race in Spain and the GP Zarnad Horon in Slovakia. Thank you very much for watching episode 3 of the CX show. I'll see you next week to review the World Cup and the X2O races.